Hello and welcome to Rainy Tuesdays, podcast by friends for friends. I'm here with Margo
Hi.
and I,
Hello.
and I'm Adam. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good. Yeah. Been a while since recorded. I looked, it is 3 days shy of a month. We did it
Ooh,
again. I'm pretty sure in
become
that
much
recording we
spottier
said
with
we
these
wouldn't do it.
things.
Oh man.
Granted,
Yeah.
it's been busy.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy month. Yeah. Um Did a couple craft shows, both
Nice.
delights.
Mhm.
The second one was like a 2-day one, and that was my first 2-day event. Um, Very fun. It was in a mall. Malls are kinda sad now.
Yeah.
Haven't been in one in a while. Don't
Yeah,
necessarily recommend. Um, but, it's good. I like doing a 2-day event. That was cool. It was also very last minute because they had a crochet business drop out, um, and so they were like, "Please, can you, like, fill in?" And I was like, "Yeah, totally."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
sabotage, I heard.
Oh, no. Although, oh my god, tea. So I get there, and the coordinator is like, "I have something to show you." And I was like, "Okay." Like, it's our first time, like, meeting a person. "What's up?" And she takes me to another booth that had set up, and that person had crochet items, but this is, like, a smaller one, so there weren't supposed to be any repeats. It was supposed to be, like, every booth is totally different. And she was like, "I can have her take this down if you want. Like, we can, well, like, get rid of it. Like, she doesn't have to sell this stuff. She has other stuff. I don't know why she brought the crochet." And I, like, looked at it, and it's, like, baby hats and, like, some, like, baby sweater like, baby clothes, essentially.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And
nothing that
that's
is going to
not
interfere with your
what
stuff.
I sell. Yeah. Like, all of my stuff is either, like, nerdy or, like, more functional stuff.
Cat toys, fidget
Yeah.
rings.
Yeah.
You can see the full selection for yourself and buy it at With an X Art on Etsy
That was
and
my
other
best
places, I think.
promo, like, I feel like he always plugs, and I really appreciate it. 'Cause
Just a
I'm
reminder
too
that is
embarrassed to do
With
it.
an X Art.
Yeah, but, totally different from what I have, because 'cause I'm not gonna make clothes for a baby, why do they need it? They're gonna outgrow it, but, like, um, yeah, so I was like, "No, don't have her take it down, like, it's totally different, like, it's totally fine," but it was just hilarious because she was, like, so ready to fight, and I was like, we're good, like, it's different, it's fine, we're also far enough away that it's not, like, gonna be a problem." Um, but yeah, that was a funny time. Um, Saw the Easter Bunny in the
Ooh.
mall. He looked really sad. I'm lonely. That's my updates on malls.
Yeah,
Malls
malls
are
for
sad.
me.
There's some outdoor malls in the area, and I feel like those are better.
Sure.
But even then, not and then like inside malls. Maybe it's just more apparent when you're in an inside mall about how few people there are.
It's so
But
echoey, and you're
Mhm.
like, "Damn." Yeah.
I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but malls today have three types of shops
Okay.
that have never been seen before at malls. Which one is the stereotypical weed shop, which is like, I don't know, just tons of weed, tons of like weed merchandise. Lots of things people that like weed like.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
feel
know,
like
like
it's always
Funko
been
Pops
weird.
and stuff. I don't know. It's sort of like trendy
Sure.
teenager-ish a little
I
bit,
don't I
but
feel like there's
weed.
always been weed shops.
Okay,
Like,
maybe I've just not noticed this one, but
Like,
yeah.
Hot Rags has always been there.
Okay.
no. I
Oh, what's the one
hard disagree from the East Coast over here. The closest thing I could think of was, like, a Spencer's, which I would argue is
and
more of a sex
Spencer's?
shop.
I
Okay,
was
so
trying
Like,
to think I was trying to remember what that was, but I was like, the
yeah,
one that says that sells sex toys. But
yeah,
Spencer's
yeah,
has a lot of weed stuff too.
that's
like
true.
like
But
shirts.
this is a shop that like doesn't have like a name brand. This is just like,
Like a mom and pop kinda.
I guess, mom and pop, but like
Mom and
I've
pop weed.
been to like three where I've looked in them and they like will have like a, I don't know, like a like mystic shop like sort of name, and they'll like
Yeah,
all be different, but like they're all selling the exact same stuff,
yeah.
which is
Well, it's a
nice.
trope, to
Yeah,
be fair. I have to say, I like, Maryland is new to dispensaries because it was just legalized
yeah,
last year, for recreational use at least. So all of ours still have the very, very, like, medical vibe. I would love a little less of that. Like, I don't wanna feel like I'm going to a doctor's office when I'm getting weed. It's like, I don't know, it gives me, like, the wrong impression. I'm like, this isn't necessarily, like, going to fix me. I don't know.
Mm,
Yeah, just a weird vibe. Although when I went to the like, one in Illinois, it also felt more like a DMV. Um, so I guess I don't,
What's
uh
the ideal weed shop?
ones that feel like coffee shops. Thank you for asking.
Okay,
This is
okay.
the thing that I will stand by. I
I was
love it when a
waiting.
weed shop has, like, a lot of, like, wooden features, has, like, a lot of, like, trendy little barista
Earthy.
vibes.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
not this, like, cold fluorescent white walls, white floors, I'm in a psych ward vibe.
I was thinking, like, zany, like,
Oh,
there's a
sure.
slide
Would love a
and
goof.
okay.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
that's
there's, like, a
fine.
whole playground inside and, like, big
Yeah.
beanbag chairs and well, beanbag chairs should be earthy too, but just generally, like, funky.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm okay with that. That's good. But yeah, just more fun. I just they're very like medical over here because that's what they have been.
Mhm.
I don't know, I've not been in a weed shop, so I
Sure.
couldn't tell you, but the dispensaries from the outside look very clinical, like, they have
Yeah.
very interesting storefronts, but they look, I don't know, sanitary.
Yeah, and I mean, I want them clean, I guess. But
Yeah.
like,
Well, I would hope,
yeah, just like
but
I don't
where's the
know.
flavor?
Where's the fun?
If you're gonna sell
I
weed, I'm quickly running out of my weed knowledge, of which there is an infinitesimally small amount, but I know that weed, like, not flavors, but they call 'em, like, strains or something, have really funky names. So
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
gonna sell something that
He's got it.
if you're gonna have, like,
This guy got
Dragon
this
Fruit
weed.
Supreme
Yeah,
Excelsior or something, then you gotta have a storefront to back up the name of the product that you just said.
yeah, I agree. Um, they're fine. I'm hoping the longer it's legal, the more we'll get fun shops rather than the medical ones.
Yeah.
Not like no offense to the medical ones. They're great. It's just like I feel very like I don't know, not fun going to them.
I mean, I
Like
assume they're pandering to everybody, so they're not gonna, like,
Yeah.
go all out on the funk because then people will be like, "Wow, they really
yes,
hit all the cliches of a
all
weed
these
shop."
hippies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
These miscreants.
They gotta be like, "Nope, we're just like alcohol. Come get it."
Speaking of which, that's another good vibe is there's like a liquor store down the street from me that's like total mom and shop. No pop, just mom and shop. But
Lost it in the divorce.
yeah, honestly though, I really only ever see like a woman working there. It's the same woman every time. I love her so much. Every single time I go in, I'm like, "What would you recommend?" Like just point me in a direction, and she does, and I love it. And then no matter what I choose, even if it's not at all what she said, she's like, "Great choice, great choice. This one's wonderful." And I'm like, "Thank you so much." Yeah, love her. Would like it if we stores felt like her store. Yeah. But enough about that.
Yeah.
Um,
I was gonna say the other two places
oh,
at the
yeah,
mall. Because I've been to like
tangent.
4 malls since like October for some reason.
Okay, mall
All four
guy.
different ones. The next one that I see in all malls now is anime slash figurine shops
Yeah, I've seen that a
because
lot.
they're
Yeah.
super expensive, but they
Yeah,
don't have a lot of them. And as long as someone buys one a day, they're gonna
you
stay
covered rent.
open.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, that's one, and then the third one is an AI art shop. I've seen this also a lot, pretty
Really?
common. Yeah.
I would cry.
I would
So
What?
yeah, I'd
yeah.
cry. That's awful.
That
So it's
hurts.
essentially just a like a shop with a machine that will print out like a canvas like drawing, and then
Ugh,
they'll staple it to the wood and then sell it for like 45 bucks.
I hope they
Awful.
get shut down.
They have like tons
I
of them.
hope they
It's
lose
very
their
popular and
livelihood.
also very lucrative apparently. But
Well,
like
I'm sure when you're stealing all your artwork and just
yeah,
printing it out for the lowest cost possible, it's
I
all
hate
profit.
that so
it's also
much.
crazy too because like some of the art is fine. Some of the art though, like the longer you look at it, it's like, oh, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
So
that's
That
sad.
was I went to an art I don't think it's would characterize it as a festival, but some kinda like art event.
Yeah.
And one of the it's more like traditional art typically, so canvas or photography or something. But there was one guy who was selling, and I don't know this for sure, but it was, like, just weird enough. I'm like, "I think you're using AI for this." Like, it had all your classic AI, like, random crap in the background, like, weird, like, warp effects. I was like, "You
Yeah,
could be doing a very psychedelic vibe,
sure.
or you could just be using AI." And this
Yeah,
looks like AI.
that sucks. Happy note from the first craft fair that I did in March. The guy across from me had such a cool thing where it was like just like paintings, but he had this, it was an indoor one, and he had this whole like tent setup that would close, and then he would put in um like UV light, and like the paintings all like completely change, and it's like something he does completely by hand. It's such a cool vibe. Loved it. It's very cool. But uh yeah, it was just like a neat little thing, and he sold each one with like little UV lights, so
Cool.
that people could do that. Very neat. Yeah, it was cool. Um, I don't know. There was this one where it was like this beautiful, like serene forest kind of thing. And then as soon as you turned it off and did the UV light, um, it was like a dragon burning down the forest and like a knight trying to fight it.
Cool.
It was neat. It was cool stuff. But yeah, good times. All right. That dragon was a jerk for burning down the forest. It's hard to decide if other people are jerks. Um,
We've hit the point where we are stealing from Reddit
yeah,
Yeah.
and reading "Am I the Assholes?"
yeah,
and let you know
Yeah.
what
yeah.
we think.
I
Um,
was gonna say first, a lot of Am I the Assholes? I always just go in assuming like 95% of them are fake. But I
sure.
also have been noticing a trend recently of like, I don't know, like Am I the Asshole threads that appeal to like the Reddit or like fantasy of
Yeah.
Oh,
like they'll be like ones written by women, but it's like one where like the woman is like clearly in the wrong,
sure.
and it's like a lot of people are like, "Oh yes, of course," and I think they like sort of get a kick off of it.
Mm,
I don't know, or it'll be like written by a man, but again, the woman is in the wrong. I don't know. I've just noticed these very a lot recently, and I'm like, these sound like a little too suspicious. Like
yeah,
a lot of them, like they'll have like one sentence where it's like, ah, that didn't happen, or like you're clearly like misrepresenting things if it like really did happen.
yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed a few lately that are like that, where it's like because usually relationship, seemingly a normal relationship, and then
Something crazy
uh,
happens.
the poster claims to be a guy, the woman does something ludicrous
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
nonsensical, and you're like, but then they always take it like just a bit too far.
yeah,
There was
Yeah,
one where it started off like relatively plausible, but it absolutely played into this fantasy where this guy was like, "Am I the asshole for breaking up with my girlfriend because I found out she falsely accused someone of rape in high school?" And it was like, "Okay, bad, sure." But then he later added an update that since he broke up with her, she falsely accused him of rape. And it's like, and you've gone too far. Because in
yeah,
the original post, it was like, she's so regretful. She's like, "Yeah, I did this horrible, horrible thing in high school, but I'm not like that anymore." And he's like, "I just couldn't get past it. I had to break up with her." And
yeah,
then, but then he adds the update, and the
and then
update
everyone
goes too
stood up
far.
and clapped.
yeah.
And it's like, nah, it
Exactly.
didn't
Like
happen.
moments like that where it's like they're doing the right thing. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think
Well, and you're, like,
writing.
looking the play into the fantasy thing too of, like, these people might be looking for a woman falsely accusing other people of rape,
Yeah.
and so if they're
Mhm.
already setting that groundwork, they're going to try to keep it going
Yep.
by adding
Yeah,
more.
I think like it's interesting because there is a very large middle section in the Venn diagram of like Reddit and incel.
Mhm.
And like it's sad because Reddit is like such a good forum place. Like there's not really a comparable thing in my mind. Like you have other ones, but I just don't think they're used as often. And so it's like really like there's some subreddits that are like, great, this is awesome. But I feel like as soon as you get into these like big ones, that's where you get like a lot of crossover. And it's like, okay, all right. I just want to hear tea. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, it's, like, filled with, like, not great people, who are just kinda, like, making up stories to, like, anger others.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I have no idea if any of these stories are true or false. But let's go into it believing all of them are completely true. 'Cause I think that's more fun, unless they're mean, and then I'll take it back. Um, I did save one initially because I was like, "This is insane," and then at the very end, it was like, "This is an April Fool's joke," and I was like, "Ah, well, damn, that's a good story though."
Quick side note, I don't think they do April Fools like they used to. I
Uh,
remember back in, like, middle school, high school, every company would have some big April Fools production, and you just don't see it anymore.
I
Did you
just
hear about Discord?
no.
So
Maybe?
Discord did like this joke about like how they're gonna like implement like loot boxes or whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. Not really a funny joke. But the thing that's interesting about it is they like Discord is like sort of known for like not really working too well. They have like its own like spaghetti code, like things should work better than they do. And they to like announce like the loot boxes thing for like April Fools. And like everyone's Discord, there was like a video that would pop up, but the video
Mm,
would play on loop, and it was a YouTube video. And so this video quickly became the highest viewed YouTube video of all time, and it currently sits
yeah.
at 1.4 billion views. um,
Did hear
and it
about
also cost YouTube like I think like $40,000 in AdSense.
that.
Kinda crazy, but also what a move, like
I guess so. I don't know. YouTube's not responded about it, but I'm pretty sure they're not too happy. That's like,
I
Yeah,
doubt
they
they would
can just
be.
trick the system.
Yeah, um, it's kind of fun though.
yeah.
Alrighty. Am I the asshole for selling my ridiculously expensive engagement ring and buying a full suit of armor?
Yes.
Okay.
No, because like, yes is in absolutely you should do that. I
Oh,
say
okay.
no as in they are not the asshole because a suit of armor is both practical and cool.
Oh my god. Okay, I know this sounds crazy and I sound terrible, but please hear me out. My fiance, 27 male, and I, 29 female, have been together for 5 years and living together for 2. We have such a strong, loving relationship. He has stuck by my side through my mother's cancer and helped with taking care of my aging father. We have excellent communication and can always tell when something is bothering the other. I want to start off already way more positive than most Am I the Asshole stories. Like,
Yeah,
she actually seems to like her partner.
that's a good start.
Which you don't see all the time. Um, okay, around 6 months ago, the topic of marriage came up, and we both made it clear that we were ready to take that next step. He brought up the topic of engagement rings after one of our mutual friends posted an engagement announcement with the obligatory picture of her new ring. It had a huge gem, and, assuming it is a real diamond, must have cost upwards of $10,000. Crazy. By the way, um,
$10,000 for a ring?
ridiculous.
Insane.
Like, that's too much, sorry.
Insane. I
Like,
would
to
not spend
each
more than
their
a grand.
own, but
yeah.
yeah,
Number
oh my
1, you can
god.
get lab-grown gems
Yeah,
for
which are
way
way ethical.
cheaper
Yeah,
and way more ethical.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that cuts down on cost
crazy.
immeasurably.
Yeah,
So, in no world should you be spending more than, like, $1,000, in
yeah,
my opinion.
no. And to
Maybe
be fair, this is
2,000.
the friend's ring, just for clarity. Okay. I mentioned that it looked nice, but I could never wear something that expensive. So fair. Uh,
Understandable.
for one, I'd feel incredibly ostentatious. I can read. And two, I'd be constantly worried about this tiny piece of jewelry worth more than my car getting broken, lost, or stolen. Crazy fair. Like
Very
that's
fair.
yeah. Um, I said that if I were ever to receive such a ring, I'd probably sell it and buy something more useful. He laughed, and I thought that we were on the same page about this. The topic came up a couple more times, and I reiterated my opinion on the matter. I told him the same thing each time. I don't want an expensive ring, and I would not wear one if given it. And I would, if I was, sell it. Or, yeah, that was written poorly, but that is what it says. I explicitly told him I was not joking, and that was in all caps. A few months later, the big day happens. He takes me on a lovely walk that culminates in a fancy meal at a restaurant. Right before he pops the question, our friends and family come out with champagne. Of course, I say yes before even looking at the ring. A few seconds later, though, I look down and see a freaking diamond almost the size of a marble with a band with a bunch of other little diamonds that really wouldn't seem little if not for their colossal neighbor. I don't say anything about it at the time because I don't want to embarrass him in front of everyone, but I'm really shocked that he went against my wishes and would do something like this. Looking at it the next day, I think this ring cost 10K easily. Nope, I had it appraised. He spent at least 20K on this monstrosity.
Yeah.
Just like I said I would, I sold it for a
God.
little over half that much. So she didn't even get like the full 20K back, which I also think is like a lot. Anyway,
Get like a down payment on a house. What do
yeah,
you mean?
absolutely, easily. Um, Ever since I was a little kid, I've wanted a suit of armor. I know it's I know it's silly, but being a knight would be so cool and I'd love to wear the proper outfit. Plus, I'd be invincible. It'd be insane not to waste thousands of dollars on something like that though, right? Um, or it'd be insane to waste thousands of dollars. Yes, but it's not as insane as spending even more on that on one single piece of jewelry. So why not? I had my friends take all of my measurements and placed in an order of a custom suit of armor, plus the helmet and gauntlets. I submitted the order. It'll take at least a few weeks to arrive. And I even had enough money left over to buy a very nice ring that actually fit the style of the original one. Um, so a much cheaper version. When my fiance noticed that I was wearing a different ring, I casually explained the situation and he flipped out. He said that the ring he chose was meant to be the ring that I wear and I couldn't just go and sell it. I reminded him that I told him this would happen and he said that he didn't think I would actually go through with it. Apparently, he's considering ending the engagement over this. I love this man with all of my heart and will do what it takes to fix this, but still, I don't feel like I was in the wrong by doing exactly what I said I would.
I mean, whoever that probably should have talked to him before doing.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
was gonna say that's why I think this
However,
is fake.
Yeah. No, it's
A
probably
hundred
yes,
percent.
all of
Because it's
these are
like, say you're
probably fake.
not talking. I feel like the logical thing would be like, okay, let's say this guy gets you a like 20K ring, whatever, pretty absurd. Do you
Absurd.
not like after like you don't want to embarrass him in front of anyone? Like the
Okay.
next day, do you not bring up like, hey, I didn't really want this? And then like not have a conversation about that and then be like, oh, okay, well, like let's find like something you want. Because another thing too is
yeah.
like sometimes we talked about this like I think a couple months ago about like engagement rings are different from wedding rings, which I did not realize.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's
totally
like
different things.
I don't know. Well, one, it's like really spending 20K. I think this is the part where like it appeals in the male fantasy redditor fantasy a bit of
Oh,
like
interesting.
the guy does something really nice for the girl, but like the girl is ungrateful,
But is
and
it
then like
really?
woman
Oh,
hating.
I was thinking like women in armor, great. So
That's a part I
just
also
thinking
don't
the
understand.
opposite.
That's the like fake part where it's like, oh, we gotta add like this weird element to it.
I don't know. Like whether or not it's fake, I don't really care. I'm treating this like it's so super real. I don't
This
think it was
happened.
nice of him
Some guy spent
to do that.
$20,000
Yeah, that's
on a
Yeah.
crazy.
ring. A patently absurd thing to do.
And also like if she said several times like what her ring preferences were and he ignored it, um seemingly completely. Although actually I take that back. He ignored like the price preferences. But
Yeah,
then the fact that she got one that looked similar to me implies that she likes the look of it, just not the price of it, which I don't know.
yeah, I don't
I take back
understand
my
that.
original
And
anger.
then also not talking about it
The
is
Yeah,
not
I mean, not
talking is
talking about it
insane.
is
yeah,
crazy.
Like,
But
because it's also like I don't know if you did spend that much, it's like, and you don't want it, you need to find a way to like make sure that money doesn't like go somewhere because that's just
yeah,
20K that like obviously the guy blew it, but it's like you don't want to just like lose that money.
yeah,
but
fair.
and if she resold it for only half, like
Yeah.
you just
Yeah,
threw 10K out the window,
completely.
that's insane.
And that's
Like,
where I think like talking about it could have helped because maybe like a return could have been a lot more like fair price wise
Yeah.
than just like selling it. Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think this like brings up the question though of rings. I think like I and very picky about jewelry. And so it's something I've, like, thought about a lot. I'm like, "What if I, like, hate the ring?"
Yeah,
And it's like,
it's a little fear.
I think I'd 100% rather flip the, like, wedding and engagement thing because, like, the wedding band is just a simple band, which I would want silver, and I can't imagine it would get any fancier than that, of just, like, a simple silver band, and then we could, like, pick the other one together. Yes, in this case, she is the
Yeah,
asshole, but I
you're
Yeah.
the asshole, but so is the boyfriend.
so is the
Yeah.
boyfriend.
I
It's
mean,
just when
asshole
everybody
usually has,
sucks
like, an
here.
opportunity, yeah, for everyone sucks, and this is probably it, because
Yeah.
she explicitly said, again, assuming all this is real, which it probably isn't, but
I
Yeah.
don't
if it
care,
is,
I'm acting like it is.
then she made it clear she does not want something that insanely expensive, and he
Yeah.
completely disregarded it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
and armor is way cooler than a ring,
Yeah.
so,
Actually,
maybe more
side note,
worthwhile purchase.
this is another thing, the Vikings, would, like, do swords, and I love that.
Yeah,
That is 100% way cool.
I saw this account on TikTok which did, like, wedding swords, and they were
They're so
gorgeous.
fun. They're
That would
so
be so
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
I, like,
Love a good
looked at it
sword.
once just to see how expensive it was, and it was
They're
like,
probably crazy. Swords are a
"Oh."
lot. Every
I mean,
single time I
and they
go to
were
the
very
ring fair.
intricately, like, designed too. So it
Yeah,
wasn't, like, just a sword. It was had
yeah,
detailing in the handle, but also in the blade. It was like, "Okay, I can see why someone's" I mean, like $10,000. Like, I was like, "Okay, that's understandable for the amount of effort that goes into it."
yeah.
I could never afford that.
No, but
Ashamed.
how cool.
But how cool.
Alright, so leaning everybody sucks, I would say, for me personally, because I feel like he blatantly disregarded everything she was saying she wanted and or didn't
Mm.
want, and then afterwards, the fact that she just didn't even talk to him about it and was
And you threw away
like, 10,000,
$10,000.
which is so wasteful.
Oh my
Yeah,
god. Like, did
um,
you watch the John Mulaney special? The
yeah, the
recent
newest
one?
one? Yeah,
Yeah, because he has a bit where he goes and buys a fancy watch to resell it for money
Yeah.
for drugs.
yeah. Ugh,
And he gets, like, a third of the cost.
Mhm.
crazy. Oh
It's a
my
little similar to
god.
that, although your drugs are a suit of armor.
My drug is armor. Anyway, would I be the asshole if I sent the drunk texts and voicemails from my ex to my sister who slept with my ex? Um, Juicy title.
Spicy.
Um, yeah. Okay. When I was 18, I was dating a guy who was 20 for almost a year. We lived about 2 hours from each other because I went away for
People do
college.
tend to remain 20 for only a year.
It's so true, but I think they mean the relationship.
I know.
He's not special. Anyway, we lived about 2 hours away from each other because I went away for college. When I got back, he sat me down with my sister, 24, and they told me they were in love. She sat there with a smug smile, like she was just happy that my heart was broken, and I just left. Um, when I returned, I met a guy and he knew what happened and said that he'd wait until I was ready. I am 24 now and married to that man who waited almost a year for me to be ready. Crazy. It's too young. Anyway, sorry. um anyway, okay. My wedding was 2 weeks ago. Back in November, I sent out RSVPs to my parents, my older brother, and other family and friends that I wanted to invite. And my mom called and asked why my older sister didn't get one. Silly of mom. I asked her if she really needed me to ask that or answer that. She tried to smooth things over, and I told her that I am not speaking to her. They would try this over the course of the next few months multiple times. On my wedding day, we were dancing and everyone was having fun until my best friend, who was my maid of honor, came in and told me that there was an altercation. And I went out, and sure enough, there was my sister of my ex and her two kids in tow. I have never met my nephews. I'm surprised they even know who I am. They came up running to me and hugging me and calling me Auntie Rachel. I told her to just leave now. She tried to cry and tell me that she was sorry. I told her again, leave or I'll call the police. She said I wouldn't do that because we're family. I told her family doesn't sleep with their family's boyfriends, and he tried to jump in, and my brother told him to get out. She started I'm just gonna skip over this part. They fought at the wedding. They fought and they fought. It's like 2.5 paragraphs. They fought. Okay.
Just
After
picture
that,
like an
the
epic sword fight.
yeah,
There's like
the
death metal in the
wedding's going,
background.
like, it's brought yeah. Okay. The wedding went off without a hitch after that. I had the best time. There was whispering about what happened outside the reception, but I didn't let it ruin my time. We get back from our honeymoon in Jamaica, and I have dozens and dozens and dozens of texts and calls. I was not on my phone, nor was my husband. I have a few drunk calls and texts from my ex saying that he hates his life and wishes he could go back and turn my sister down. He is miserable and he hates the kids and he hates his wife. That we should have been the ones getting married. Now, here's my dilemma. I don't care about him. I'm content with my life and I love the life that I have. Same thing. It's beautiful. Would I be wrong to send my brother these texts to give to her? I don't even want to include that he hates his wife. I just think it's weird that he hates his children. My husband says send her everything, including the drunk voicemails of him calling her vile names. My husband is more petty than I am and hates that she hurt me because we were sisters. Do I want to deal with the fallout from family? It's tempting because of what he said about the kids. That would be the only part of, that I'd send. Once again, I'm not trying to ruin their life. The only thing that matters is what he said about the kids, and that's my dilemma. Um, oh God, then she talks about Chris Watts, which for context, Chris Watts is famously known for killing his kids. And I think why.
Okay.
Oh, really? I have no
Big true
idea.
Yeah.
crime story.
Oh,
It's yeah. Zoinks. Chris Watts keeps popping up in my head and what he did to his kids and wife. I want to know, but I'd want to know in her shoes, but I don't know how she'd feel about it coming from me. Um, so yeah, it would is what should she do?
I
Right
think
off the bat, this feels so much more fake than the
I
last.
agree.
yes. Okay, I was
This one
gonna
makes the
say.
first one look real to me.
I
Yeah,
think
it definitely does.
so. I talked about how Emma the Asshole caters to like a Redditor fantasy. I
Yeah.
also think it's a like area where people try out like creative writing and like
Honestly,
try different things,
yeah.
which I in some ways appreciate the subreddit a little bit more of like someone came up with this and like this is like a pretty creative like dilemma. This one
Yeah,
here feels like very much like someone starting out, like maybe this is like their third thing they've created
I agree.
because it's a lot of like the like repetitions of things where it's like someone
Yeah,
wouldn't say that or like I
yeah.
don't know if someone was really writing this they wouldn't say that, but like the dilemma they created is interesting.
Yeah, and that being said though, like I think that if I had to place this person in the United States, she would either be a Southerner or a Midwesterner in the
I
sense
was
of
thinking
like
something.
quickly rushed into more adult decisions, such as marriage. And I think that's silly. But yeah, I don't know. I think like it is interesting to be like, do you owe someone who betrayed your trust like that kindness?
I
I mean,
think
taking it at fully face value, I
oh
think
sorry.
it's
Yeah.
such like a personal. I don't think there's a wrong answer. Like
Sure.
it might. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong for not saying. I don't think you're wrong for saying it. Like either is a
Yeah.
fine option.
Fair.
Completely up to you and how petty you want to be. Like
Is it
don't. I kind of doubt that this random guy is going to murder his children.
Yeah.
So
No, we
I don't
don't
think you're.
yeah.
I mean, maybe, but
Maybe.
probably not. So you kind of don't have to worry about preventing a crime from taking place. Just kind of
Sure.
like miserable people who are probably miserable and know it, and
Yeah.
what is really going to change.
Yeah.
But you might feel a little bit better. But you also are probably trying to do some sabotage, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. But there's not like a wrong answer.
Like
Either
she
is
says in there, like, I'm not trying to get their marriage to fall apart or for there to be fallout or anything. And it's like there's gotta be a
but
little bit
you
of you that
definitely
wouldn't mind it. Like
The
um
other thing I feel like lazy writing of like sort of just glosses over like the sister getting with the ex-boyfriend. Like there's got to be more
sure.
there.
I guess that's like not the point of the post though. Like
That's
she's like,
fair, but
here's
I feel
this
like
awful situation. Oh
you're
well,
missing the
here's the
backstory in
current
the
thing.
story for the
That's true.
creative
I want
writing
more.
part.
Um, I think my biggest issue in this story is with the mom. I feel like
Exactly, the mom's not
it's
even there, they forgot to include her.
no,
She's
they
in there,
said,
but,
like
like, barely.
yeah.
Well,
And
barely.
I just think it's, like, silly to be like, "Why aren't you inviting?" Like, it would be one
I
thing
don't
to be
know,
like,
that feels
"Let's
like a
fix it."
classic parent thing to
But
be
to be like,
like, "Why are you holding this grudge against
"Why
your
not?"
sister?" I don't know. That part does feel believable to me.
Yeah, fair enough. Um, I agree though, no, not the asshole. I also
Just
think
for
it's like
whatever decision a
yeah,
person in this situation, of which evidently this person is not experiencing, but a
yeah,
person in a similar situation, yeah, whatever, either is fine.
The other thing too is this
absolutely.
whole story takes place very quickly over 6 years.
That's true. Yeah,
The sister and the ex already have 2 kids over
Yeah.
over 6
4
years though.
years, because when they were 20, I thought.
No, the guy was 20.
But then there was, like, a
Uh,
year later, so it was at least 5 years.
yeah, but I mean, I was born, like, slightly less than 2 years apart from
But then those kids can't have been that old. How could they be
Yeah,
that's
running
how
up?
true. How are they
yeah, did you
running?
describe them
Gotta
running? They
think,
have to
critical
be if they're
thinking.
both
That's a
running.
great point. Yeah.
Mm.
These are some superhuman
They should've just
kids.
aged up the characters.
I mean, conceivably, like, let's say the sister and the ex get together and have a kid immediately. Then
Yeah.
you could theoretically have 2 kids. A
Okay.
2-year-old child could run,
Twins, okay.
or twins.
Okay.
Can they
They probably would have said twins,
at
though.
what
That's like
Yeah.
enough of a descriptor that you definitely would have mentioned it.
Yes.
I'm, like, the youngest child in all of my extended family, and my only experience with children younger than me in, like, a substantial role was nannying, and the youngest kid that I ever nannied was, like, 5. So, at what point do they start, you know? Like, at what point do they start, like, running and
My
screaming and knowing what an aunt
cousin
is?
had a kid, and her kid is 1 and something, 1 and some change now.
Okay,
I don't know exactly how old, but I think she started walking a little before 1, so,
okay.
um,
That's crazy to me. I feel like that's
so you could
faster
probably
than I
run
would think.
now, I would think. I mean, not,
Yeah,
like, well,
sure.
but could
That
probably
sort of,
walk
like,
around a bit
drunken
more.
person one.
Yeah,
Love it. I do think that's actually a very cute aspect of children, is the fact that they have no balance.
no,
Um,
very funny.
it's just like drunk college students and
Mhm,
toddlers have so much in common.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
I mean,
It's
I
okay to
kind
be
of
nutty.
I still would doubt that you'd describe a 2-year-old as, like, running around because they are more, like,
Sure.
tottering. I mean, they are running, but not,
What
like, a
about
coordinated.
speaking? Like, to be able to say, like, Auntie
2-year-olds could do
Rachel.
that, but I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah. I every kid's different too, so
that's
kids
true.
could develop earlier.
Super
They
smart
make them sound
kids.
like they're, like, 4 or 5, though.
That's what I'm
Yes,
thinking. Yeah.
that was the vibe I got from the descriptor,
Yeah.
which would not be
Um,
possible.
unless
Unless they're twins and they're both you were
it was
born
Then you might
immediately,
note that, yeah.
but
yeah.
I feel like you'd really note the twins. That's just such like
It would
a
be, like, really weird to be like, these 2 siblings and, like, not mention twins.
yeah.
I feel like every set of twins I've known, I've always referred to them as twins and not brother and sister or
Yeah, and
brother and
everyone
brother
does.
or sister and sister. Yeah. Alright. Uh, I am realizing, like, so many of these are wedding related. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
feel like
skip ahead and
I've
go
read a
back. So
lot.
many Am I the
So
Asshole ones
many
are
are
wedding.
wedding
Yeah.
or,
Like,
like,
in-laws.
marriage
Yeah.
like, marriage/pregnancy related. Like, I feel like that's
Sure.
the
That's a big
biggest.
one. Yeah.
Pregnancy is a big one because they'll often, uh, use, like, postpartum depression as, like,
Yeah.
"My wife's gone crazy."
Yeah.
She's hysterical. Lock her up. But okay, I'll do a non-wedding one and then I'll get back to some other wedding ones because the wedding ones are very juicy.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for not disclosing cakes are dairy free? First and foremost, hilarious premise to me. I just think it's really funny because I know that in this story, I didn't read this one before saving it. So I just like saw the title and I was like, someone's gonna be like, ugh, dairy free after knowing. And I'm ready for it. I could be
Oh,
wrong.
like the classic of like, "Wow, this is pretty
This is
good,"
so
and then you're
good.
like, "Oh, you like it? This is what it is." I'm like, "Oh, it's
Oh, it's
that?"
awful. Yeah. I just feel like that's
Yeah,
gonna happen. Okay.
classic.
I'm a hobby baker, not a professional. I make cakes and cupcakes and treats for family and friends of family. I am also lactose intolerant. So true. Um, I've been used to cooking and baking dairy free for years now, and it's just become second nature to me. Due to regular baking, I often bulk buy supplies such as dairy free butter. In all of my baking, I use the dairy free butter, and I've never really thought anything of it. So, unless there's a specific flavor that's been requested, the cakes or cupcakes are essentially dairy free. I've never hidden the fact that I use dairy free butter, but I've also never made it a big deal either. Everyone always compliments the cakes, and I've never had someone say that they noticed the cakes or icing were dairy free. Last week, I made a chocolate cake for my cousin's birthday. We had a party, and during the party, I had a piece of cake. Dark chocolate and cocoa powder are naturally dairy free, so with the dairy free butter, the entire cake was dairy free. Another cousin noticed me eating and commented on the fact that I would end up with a bad tummy. When I explained that it was dairy free, she absolutely kicked off, claiming I was trying to force my beliefs down everyone's throats and that I should be declaring the fact that it's dairy free. Also, should note she had already eaten some of the cake and said it was lovely. She started getting everyone involved. Some knew I tend to do dairy free and didn't have any issue. Others didn't know and were still okay with it. And some were annoyed about it and said that if they had known, they wouldn't have had the cake. Again, no one disliked the cake in any way. I then got told from now on I should make sure there's dairy in all the cakes, cupcakes, and treats, which means that if it's for a family event, I can't eat them. Now I'm at the point where I don't want to make anyone else any more cakes. There was no maliciousness on my part. I understand that years ago, dairy free was a massive deal, and quite often the food wasn't as tasty. But nowadays, things have changed, and it's actually not a big deal anymore. So, am I the asshole? Should I be telling people that most of the cakes were dairy free? Edited to add, as it's been mentioned a few times, I always ask about other allergies. There's a few different allergies in the family, and I always try to cater to everyone. If there's someone I don't know that has an allergy, they've often asked what they can eat, and I direct them. In this case, the only allergens in the cake was egg, wheat, and just eggs and wheat. And no one else was allergic to anything else. The butter used has no main allergens. Uh,
I have a clarifying question. So
sure.
the baker who told the baker that they had to make dairy confectionaries later? Like, was this the same
It
person that was
seems
outraged at the dairy-free nature?
honestly, it seems like the group that were like annoyed. So it seems like it extended from just one person to then, like, a few more people, but not everyone. Like, some people were like, "Literally, I don't care." Some people were like, "I already knew this." And some people were like, "Oh, what? There should be dairy."
Okay, and those people were like, "If you're gonna make them, they have to have dairy in
Mhm.
them." Okay.
What are our
I
thoughts?
think this seems more believable.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this is totally believable. I just think it's dumb. Like,
Yeah.
And
I
dumb, but, like, we all know people
so
who
many
would react
reasons.
that way
Definitely.
to
Yes,
find
unfortunately.
out. I don't even think dairy-free is not even the craziest thing, but
Yeah.
people are
It's also
crazy,
like
so
it's not even that it's, like, vegan or anything like that. So it's not even, like, beliefs. It's just allergy.
Yeah. There's a lot of
and
Um,
substitutes
I've
for
not
dairy free, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
taste just as good or like aren't
yeah.
as noticeable.
and I've
Um,
not I mean, I don't know, maybe it was, like, trendy, like, gluten-free was a little trendier, but
sure.
I never saw that with dairy-free to the same extent.
No, the only people that I know who are, like, dairy free, but not, like, vegan are lactose intolerant people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, but they treat it the same way, like, gluten free who aren't celiac treat it, which is when they're like, "Yeah, I am," and then they'll, like, always take, like, a Lactaid and then, like, have a little and then they'll be like, Why did I do that?" And I'm like, uh, but, yeah, I think, um it's weird to switch up. I think that switch up is the weirdest part to me, and, like, I called it before reading it because I've seen that so many times where
Yeah.
people are like, "This is great," and then they, like I've seen it a lot with, like, tofu, where someone will eat tofu and they'll be like, "Amazing, wow," and then they'll be like, "Ugh, tofu?" And it's like, "Okay, like, you liked it, though." I think
Yeah, I mean,
obviously
this
it's
seems like
not
a clear answer.
possible.
Obviously, you're
Yeah.
fine, and these people are crazy, and
Yeah.
I
continue
wouldn't
making them
bake,
dairy free
though.
because it's your stuff, and you
Yeah.
should be able to eat them. That seems pretty basic.
Yeah.
I think going forward in her position, I would not be baking for events of the people who were aggressive about it.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else, I'd probably still do, like, the cupcakes and cakes and treats for them, for their events, but I don't think I'd be like, "I'm gonna make something that I just cannot eat." Um, which
Yeah.
also I stand by regularly. I've, as we know, been a vegetarian for a very long time. I will never in my life cook meat. Because not even just like, there's no moral application in that statement. It is purely, I think that to be a good cook or a good baker or anything like that, you should taste your food. Like you should know what you made. And I can't do it with meat. So I just don't see the point of ever making it. Because what if I poison someone? I don't know. I would never know.
Yeah. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Am I the asshole for sleeping with my frenemy on my wedding day? Um,
This is gonna be one of the classic where, like, the title is like, "Obviously you're a jerk," and then they go
yeah.
into a long, convoluted explanation for why and actually, though, they are completely justified in what they did.
This is
Exactly.
another
Which,
one that I saved for the title because that's
yeah.
hilarious. Like,
And I think some of those titles are a little bit more like the creative writing ones where it's like,
yeah,
okay, you give us this crazy title, but then you'll win us back with the writing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's like pretty cool.
absolutely. Okay, for reference, this happened 5 years ago, but I was confronted about it recently. I'm a very boring person, and this was literally the only dramatic thing that has ever happened to me in my life. 6 years ago, my fiance proposed to me. I was thrilled. We planned a beautiful, intimate wedding. I've always gotten along with his friends and his family. His mother adores me. We've disagreed, but we didn't argue. We found ways to resolve our problems inside and out. We were a great couple. I never thought he would literally leave me at the altar. Our families, friends, and even the officiator, not the right word. It should be officiant, not to be picky, but officiator is not the word.
Yeah.
Kept trying to reassure me, but almost 2 hours after the ceremony was supposed to start, I got a call saying he got cold feet and didn't want to get married. He wanted to get more out of life before being tied down. So stupid.
Does it say how old
Um,
they are?
sure doesn't. Nope. I'm assuming younger, based on this, but who knows? Um, I did some things I'm not proud of. I begged my mom to get me out of the dress and I tore the stupid thing off. I left the wedding after everyone kept looking at me with pitying eyes. I fended off a lot of calls from friends and family telling them I was fine and I didn't want to talk. See, Ryan, fine is not fine. Um,
I disagree. Say you're
um,
just okay.
here's the thing that I was called the asshole for. I have a frenemy. We've known each other since middle school. He's always been a class clown bully. I was not attractive growing up, and he would jokingly flirt with me and try to annoy me as much as possible. He never really grew out of either of those things. So when he called to check up on me, or really to rub it in my face that I was dating a loser who dumped me on the wedding day, he asked if I wanted to hook up with him. I said yes because my life was ruined anyways. What else could happen? He picked me up and we slept together. He's the second person I had been with, the first being my fiance. It wasn't religious, I just saw it special that we were each other's first and only. My fiance evidently didn't feel the same. I blocked my fiance, as did the rest of my family. His mother profusely apologized and said that his late father would never have did what he did. Um, kind of rubbing it in, but that's fine. my My now ex-fiance contacted me recently. He wanted closure. I said, no at first. He apologized for ghosting me, but he immediately said that it didn't justify me sleeping with someone else on the night of our wedding. I
How'd you
told him
know?
I don't know, I guess maybe the other guy, like, talked about it.
Ah,
It doesn't really say. I told him it wasn't a healthy thing to do, but I've gotten comments from his friends that, uh that he acted badly and they would have left him too. I don't even know what I did wrong. I the end got a little confusing for me, personally. Um, thoughts, because there is an update. Uh,
I feel like update is a classic sign that it's fake.
Yeah.
I agree, honestly.
And I
Um,
like I think it's fine if it's fake because like I like that they
yeah,
took the title and were like, oh okay, now it's like more
I mean, yeah,
ambiguous.
here's the reason why this is justified,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah,
Because if this was like a real thing, they wouldn't have titled it that
no, because that is so clickbaity.
unless they really want like Reddit
Um,
points.
which maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, okay, update.
And like
Ex-fiance.
who
Oh,
well, oh, no,
no,
go
go
for
on.
it. No.
Oh, no.
I was just gonna say, like, who's gonna tell you that you're the asshole in this situation?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
fiance left you at the altar. You're kind of justified in doing whatever you want because that's
Yeah.
yeah.
an
Um,
astoundingly awful thing to do.
I get that, like, it's odd to sleep with someone who you're not, you know, i- with on your wedding day, but if the wedding didn't take place because of something so mean, I feel like it's not like the relationship was going to continue. Um,
I mean, I feel like anyone would understand that you're not exactly thinking logical thoughts if
yeah,
you are subject to such a devastating and unexpected thing.
yeah. Okay. Ex fiance called and apologized. I suspect but have no evidence that someone may have sent him my post. Nothing stays quiet in a small town. He said he regretted what he said in the moment and that it just came out of his mouth, but the damage was done. He apologized again and promised that he would repay his half of the wedding. I'm not holding my breath. Some things to clarify. What was the actual reason for him getting cold feet? Two major things. He found out his uncle, who's very close to, took out a lot of debt in his name. It's fraud, but he didn't want to turn on his own uncle and turn him into the police.
What?
This is like a sitcom like plot line.
Yeah. Um, he was afraid that I would resent him for putting me in a bad financial position right off the bat. Okay, so we brought it back to the wedding. Second, I didn't want to move to a major city. I'm very happy living in our small hometown and I earn a very good living. He wanted to move and needed the extra money from a better job in a major city to pay off the debt. He felt stifled. Instead of talking to me, he began thinking more and more reasons to not get married, but was paralyzed by choice and ran out the clock. I was humiliated because he couldn't just talk to me like an adult, but instead ran away. He also admitted that he thought we would find our way back to each other. Um, silly thought in my mind. Anyway, was frenemy at the wedding? No, it was just close friends and family. But if you live in a town like mine, everyone knew by midday. Are you and frenemy going to ride off into the sunset together? No, I'm not joking when I say he annoys me and just brings up a lot of negative emotions. It's not cutesy or old married couple bugging each other. Um, and then it just is like, I don't like him. He's mean. Uh, I slept together because maybe it was self destruction. Um, he's much nicer when we sleep together. But then he goes back to taunting me. Um,
Just sounds mean.
yeah, it's very self-destructive, and I know that I'm just looking for the scraps of love that I can get. Okay, so they're still hooking up.
Oh, okay.
But she doesn't want to be with him like romantically. It's a
I mean,
lot looking back at what I've written, but thanks for listening. Which feels very fake.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like moderately believable.
can I believe the situation could happen? Absolutely. But I don't know. There was also like the line about like everybody's pitying looks on me or pitying eyes felt very like I don't know.
Like more description than
Yeah.
you would give if you're just telling the story of what would happen to you.
Yeah. I don't know. Just say like I didn't want pity from anyone. Um but yeah, I think sleep with whoever you want if your fiance leaves you at the altar. Um oh,
Yeah.
what a horrible thing to
Kind
do
of
to others.
justified in doing whatever you want because that's horrible.
Um brain teaser. Do you guys think you could get back with somebody who left you at the altar?
No.
Unless they had like a really good reason.
If they were, like,
They got
hospitalized.
kidnapped.
Sure, kidnapped, that's
They
great.
were kidnapped by a hospital and they had to save the president of the United States
Mhm, mhm.
They're actually
from
Nicolas
aliens.
Cage.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, if they had, like, a reason that they missed it, and I'm like,
I
"Okay."
think that's different.
But if
There's
they are just like, "Ah,
there's a Scrubs
scary."
plot
No.
line about that where Turk and Carla are getting married, but Turk gets, like, stuck in surgery, and, like, misses the, like, ceremony part, but then he gets there for the reception, and that's nice. But, yeah, I don't know, I think, like, reasonable things for, like, why you missed it, okay, but, uh, leaving or, like, getting cold feet at the altar, I don't think so. I feel like I couldn't come back from that. I feel like I'd be like, "Okay, bye." Um, yeah, I don't know. Um, alright, what random nails braids?
I told Adam this already actually, but like 2 weeks ago, I got like a tire. My tire was flat because it had a nail in it, and like part of
No.
the tread was like scraped,
Oh,
which
that's the
was very
worst.
annoying. And it was annoying
Yeah,
too because like I had picked up my girlfriend, and I think it happened like on the way like to my apartment. And so
yeah,
then like the next day we went to a movie and I was like, oh wow, like the warning lights on and my tire was very low. So I like went to an air pump, filled it up. Then like we went and got sushi afterwards. And then like when we got back, it was very low again. And so then the whole next day was a Saturday, which was really annoying because like everything was closed.
sure.
So it was like going around to places like, hey, can you fix this? Can you fix this? And that took like 3 hours of
Yeah.
like people being like, well, we can fix it on Monday, and also it's gonna be $200. And then
Ugh,
I was like, okay, well, I guess that's just what I'm gonna do. So like my girlfriend's parents would like come pick her up. And it was just like, yeah, might be.
yeah,
But I got the new tire and I like luckily I was able to like work from home and I like worked at the tire place, which took like 4 hours for some reason. But in good news, I got to watch like 10 episodes of Storage Wars, if you guys have ever seen that show.
I love that show. Oh my
Yeah, I
god.
used to watch it a lot when I was little. It's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Fair. It's silly. Um, yeah. Huh.
But I
I don't
got the
know,
new tire, it was all good.
yeah, that's the important part. The nail thing always scares me because it's just like, it could be anywhere. Um, I feel like that has happened to so many people that I know. I'm just, like, waiting for the day that it happens to me. Um, yeah, I don't know. I know a lady who, like, same tire, it had happened, like, 6 times. Um,
Jeez.
and, like, on the 6th time, ow, okay, my cat's stabbing me. On the 6th time, the shop was like, "We're not patching this again. Like, get a new tire. Like, this is ridiculous." Which is fair. What about you, Adam?
I don't know, so I guess I will just say the funny thing that happened to me today, which I already told
Okay.
both of you guys
Yeah.
before, but, um, for the pleasure of the podcast, as everyone knows, in court, you have to be sworn in.
Hmm.
The judge makes you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and everyone
Classic Law
says
and
you
Order moment.
classic Law& and Order moment, and today, that happened, and the guy said no. He
Hilarious, by the
just
way.
he refused, and he could not swear that he was going to tell the whole truth. It wasn't like a formal trial setting, so it wasn't like, "Oh, no,
Contempt.
what's
Yeah.
happening?" Yeah, 'cause if it was a formal trial setting, they would probably just be held in contempt of court. This was, different circumstance in which it really didn't matter that he was saying these things, but, I just never seen that before. It's
I
usually so, like, automatic that you just
yeah.
like, "Yeah, of course, I'm gonna tell the truth." Like,
Do you guys still swear on the Bible?
no.
No,
Just
yeah,
raise
okay.
your right hand.
Yeah. I, like, saw that shift happen in Peoria. It was so funny to me because one of the judges like kept forgetting. And would be like, nope. But whole time. Um, no. Uh,
It's just so funny. It happened. I'm like,
Hilarious.
gotta tell people about this. This is
Yeah.
great.
Like, I don't know. It feels like a bit of a trailer moment, if I'm gonna be honest. Um, like that's
Yeah,
just like such a quick little bit.
yeah.
But yeah. Um, trying to think. It has been so rainy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
been really rainy. I have been poured on
yeah,
multiple times this week.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think every single day I've been poured on actually, which is irritating.
fair. I love
And it's
rain.
windy as hell. So then I'm like struggling to keep my umbrella
Yeah.
together. Yeah, it's just a whole nightmare.
I
That's been the same. Are we supposed to get rain tomorrow? Hopefully not.
I think
For
so.
us, it's supposed to stop tomorrow. But we also don't live in the same place at all. So who knows what you guys are getting? um,
So I wonder.
I
Checking the weather app now. Yeah, it says snow. What?
crazy,
And yeah, we did have a little bit of snow this morning.
Yeah.
much worse version.
I woke up and I was like, no, I thought we were done. It's April.
Like
Yeah.
it's so stupid. I um I love rain, but like at this point in the year, I want like April showers where it's like sunny and raining. Um, but it's been just like so dark and like stormy, which is not necessarily the vibe I'm looking for. Um, so that's the thing. I have nothing else of like a super big interest right now. Yeah.
It'd be really unfortunate if on like Monday it's rainy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, very fair. All right. Everyone's an asshole at some point in their lives. But sometimes you can make a really good story out of it. So have a sunny Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.